All right, we're all set. So I'd like to call to order the Montgomery County Industrial Development Agency Governance Committee to order. Our first action under new business is the 2024 draft measurement report. Ed, you want to?
Yeah, what you guys have in your packet, we do this every year as part of the Public Authority Accountability Act. We look at our mission statement, and then what we do is we report on the measurements that we set for ourselves in 2023. And then we lay out the measurements going forward for 2024. We've been pretty consistent with the 5 measurements over the past few years, and you can see that we're pretty detailed with the responses to those, and that we are hitting the measurements that we have set. The upcoming year, we really didn't see any need to change the measurements because all the projects that we discussed will be ongoing, and obviously, the two big ones there is reaching out to various firms that are potential program each year, and then hopefully we've looked at our mission statement report as much as that know that this is pretty detailed compared to some of the others you see out there and other agencies. So pretty comfortable with this and like how we go about it.
Any questions or comments for Ken on this or the measurement reports? If not, do we have a motion to move this to the full board with a positive recommendation? Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstain? Carries. The next one is our board evaluations. I got those today. What we will do is Ken and I will meet, we'll look these over. We'll figure out the ratings. If we need to, we'll call some of the board members and try to do a comprehensive understanding of where we need to improve or how we can improve on any of the measures that were anywhere that weren't in the agreed arrangement. So range. So Ken, anything else to add on that?
No, it's really this is specifically for the board itself. So I mean, it's really much board members discuss. I discuss these now.
You got to get them over. Okay. So we went through them. There, we had one. We had just a couple areas where I think we got to look at places to make some improvement. One was around the decisions made by the board members that we arrived through an independent judgment and deliberation, free of political influence or self-interest. We only had one that had somewhat agreed. So I think we're pretty good on that one, unless others have any comments or concerns that we need to address. We also had one where the board members comprehend their role and fiduciary responsibilities and hold themselves and each other's to those principles. Again, it was a somewhat agree, which is, in our eyes, we want to see it all in agree, but at least it wasn't with somewhat disagree or disagree totally. And I know that this is actually one that I shared this last year when we were at this point. Some of this is, I think, our internal ways of, did we get enough? And we're kind of judging ourselves in this role too. So, again, if there are ways that we can improve this, then we are always willing to listen and try to address those concerns. The only other one was where we had just one disagreement on was that individual board members feel empowered to delay votes, defer items or table actions if they feel additional information or discussion is required. So that one did have a disagree on. So we, again, this will all be out. We have to do Ken, can you explain the process?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think what we're addressing. Why, and then what we do is we tabulate these, and then we send them off to the ADO. They just get the overall.
They get the overall, so it'll be the number of board members and where they fit on each one of them.
I mean, as a board, obviously.
Yeah. So you know, I think this is the time, so if we could just have maybe a little bit more explanation on that one as to how come it went to the disagree, so that we could try to get this that, you know, next year we're not there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we've had situations where we need to table anything, but I would stop the line if need be and go that route.
I think for me, and I put agree on it, but I hesitate actually, because I think for me, the word empowered kind of was like,
Strong.
it was strong, right? I wasn't sure if I liked it to say empowered. So I almost did put disagree because, I don't know, I was half and half on that because of the way it was worded. So maybe the wording of it.
This is a
Standard.
Should be
standard
standard,
or,
standard.
yeah.
Boilerplate.
Chris, Joe, are there anything you guys have seen with other boards that, you know, we could potentially do to help improve on that?
Well, actually, I look at the note in the margin and it almost sounds like it says info is provided in such a timely manner. That suggests that maybe the person misunderstood the question because.
There's a reason I wear glasses, Joe.
Okay, well, that's.
54, it's harder to see.
Imagine how I feel. The important thing is to have a discussion. You know, Chris and I, you know, we work with, you know, a ton of IDAs, and I've actually, we just finished up a meeting earlier this week with one of our IDA clients where there was one board member who just had disagree on everything. And it was clear, I mean, there's a schism on the board. You know, both by way of mission statement, direction, philosophy. And so they're struggling as to what to do, you know. I mean, you know, one person's got connections with the county ledge. You know, we're not gonna tell you which, you know, what idea it is, but, you know, it's no one that you would know, but, you know, it's like, hey, we gotta get this person off because they're just not, you know, they're not part of the team. So there's not even like good, you know, conversations. People aren't polite, what I'm getting. But part of it also is, you know, is having an honest discussion and documenting that you're having the honest discussion with the board members. So whoever, and I guess, you know, the person signed, right? Yeah, so, yeah, so, you know, just, you know, have a discussion and say, what's the issue and document that. The most important thing that Chris and I make sure doesn't happen with our IDA clients is, you know, that you ignore an issue. You want, you know, if you've got a policy, you follow the policy, because it's worse to have, not to have a policy, it's worse to have the policy and not follow it than to not have the policy. That's number one. Number two, if you've got something that's telling you you've got an issue, you don't just, well, let's move on. So you should say, hey, let's maybe have a subcommittee meeting, maybe have a retreat, and have a discussion. I mean, these things are the theory behind these evaluations is that they're supposed, frankly, they're supposed to be anonymous. But you can have a discussion about, well, what's going on here and what can we do to improve? But I don't have you know, an answer directly for this particular one. I mean, a lot of it is, you know, why does a person feel that way, right? Do they get the information in advance? Do they get enough information? Do they have the ability to talk to staff? Is there a robust discussion during the meeting? Those are the issues. Yeah.
All good.
Yeah. Okay. And it's not a problem, you know, necessarily have disagreements. You want you know, some of our board members come up to us after a meeting and say, God, I asked too many questions, or I hope I wasn't holding anything up. You want active board members, right?
Right.
That's the whole idea. You want someone, but you want, you know, productivity, you want, you know, positivity. You want people that are collaborating.
And I just want to echo, and I know we talked about this last year, is when we do have new board members, trying to do some kind of orientation or doing something, and we had discussed this last year, and it's one of those things that I think, not due to good intention, it just falls off the radar as we get into the business and the nature of this board. So, you know, I really think it is something that we need to look at as a board of what do we do when we get a new member, to make sure that they feel empowered enough to give their open, honest opinion on this. And if there are things that we need to address, give an overview of what the board is and what we do here and some of those things. So, you know, again, I'll take ownership on that we didn't do that this past year, and that, you know, we'll try to again this year with just that disclaimer that things do get crazy and we are a volunteer board. So, you know, the prioritizing things sometimes doesn't come, the orientation doesn't always go to the highest of the priority list. So the only other thing that I will share, and then we can open it up for other discussion, is, you know, I had experiences on other IDAs where, you know, it was basically a rubber stamp, or we didn't have discussion. There was some of the political influencing and things of that nature that were occurring. I'm pretty proud to say that I've never felt that on this board since I've been on it. So, you know, again, that's not as a chairman saying that, that's been consistent from Montgomery County, that we just don't do business like that. We try to partner with everyone, and we take everyone's concerns into that, and we're still independent. We look out for what is right in our fiscal responsibilities here as a board. So we understand. Good. So are there any other comments or concerns we make sure?
Well, I know this is a standard form, but I don't know if we could have anything under this, like a either agree or disagree, and then requiring some kind of explanation. That would seem like one, if it's not been an issue, you're not really agreeing or disagreeing. So
And maybe what we should do is have this as our standard, and what we can do is have an addition, an attachment to it that actually could give maybe comments that we had, some examples or things that we can do. I agree with you. If we can't change this, maybe what we do is add something to it that gives us that ability to be able to defend or justify what your rating was.
Well, not only that, but, you know, it would also keep the board more active to what you guys need to know, you know, so that if we are, like, you know, sometimes we don't have a meeting every week, right? So maybe on the month that we don't have a meeting, you send something out as a whole with some type of questions or whatever. We got, you know, what's your comments on this stuff, so we can keep involved.
That's a good idea, Cheryl.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, it can just be something that particular month that you guys have been talking about, and send it out. And you guys, I mean, the communication is unbelievable. But like this type of stuff, even if we did it like every 3 months or something, or twice a year, so that you guys can gauge how maybe the rest of us are feeling about certain types of things.
Yeah, and I hate giving Ken any credit, so,
Well, somebody.
Give a little bit and take it back.
So I just will say, you know, Ken does also help us to understand that, you know, this is our board and our evaluation and so we do depend on them a lot as staff to help with that. So this is really a reflection on how do we do it amongst ourselves. So I see Ken taking notes, and I'm sure he will remind me of some of the things we want to address as a board. So, you know, I think these are all great ideas.
there's no orientation I should have done. It's, I guess,
But he missed it.
There's an hour of training in the workbook that he gave me to do.
That's why I said I ain't gonna get.
A year ago, they promised us this big buffet, where we could have like this whole day. where we
And
could-
we got a bag of asbestos bricks. For the
Yes.
first meeting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But they're just off the inside. There is ADO training required.
No, I did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm back in the line.
Back corner is really sweating down here.
Speaking of that, ADO training, Ken and I were doing a refresher ourselves. And in there, there's a stipulation that every 3 years, each board member should have a refresher. So we do have some board members.
Yeah, but I think it's a recommendation.
It's a
It's
recommendation.
not a requirement.
So we thought maybe we thought maybe we could do something.
I haven't got one, so.
I got your email.
Right, just gotta keep getting a reminder, I gotta do it, I did it, so. Tops up all
Did you
your-
wait till all the way to the end? That's like my sexual harassment. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you can put them on high speed. Perfect. So we will look at this. I will make sure we kind of make this a priority. All right? All right, a motion to adjourn. And sweat it out too. Motion second.
I'll second.
All in favor?